Hey everyone, it is Tuesday morning on July 27th, and today we are talking about smart plans. Specifically, this is the Smart Plans Foundations class. Basically, what I want to show you guys is all of the different things about smart plans that you need to know before you actually start making smart plans. So we're going to start off today by looking at some things on the the answers.kw.com website, and we're going to look at some of the things that you can find out about smart plans there, some guidelines, some rules, some things that need to be in place. And then we're going to take a look at command itself, and we're going to walk through some of the things that we need to make sure are ready to go before, once again, we actually start creating those smart plans. So let's take a look right now at, let's see, we'll do this guy here. There it is right there. That's the one I'm looking for. Okay, so I'm on the answers.kw.com website, and what I'm looking for here, I've already searched for smart plans. I've already gone in here and done my search. If you have not been to the answers.kw.com website, it looks like this when you actually get there, and there's a big search bar in the middle. And all I did was I typed in smart plans, and when I did that, I just hit enter, and the first thing it took me to was 83 different results for smart plans. But what I want to do is show you how to navigate a little bit here. When you get a bunch of answers in the results for your search, down here it says, add a smart plan from the Smart Plans library. That's an article. That's an article specifically on how to add a plan from the library. But under here is going to show you like what they call the breadcrumbs on how it got to that article. So answers inside of command, the tool, smart plans. By going here and clicking on this little guy, you'll actually be taken to all of the smart plan articles. So just kind of like a directory of all of the different things that are in smart plans. So in this directory, there are quite a few different things that you can look at as far as what to kind of get information on a smart plan. So everything pretty much that you need to know about smart plans can be kind of revealed from here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to show you a couple of articles here, and we're going to talk about some of the things that are inside of smart plans. So I'm going to choose one of these little guys right here. I'm going to choose editing an inactive smart plan. And the reason I'm choosing that is because there's a lot of stuff in here that kind of guides you through what is going on in a smart plan. And one of the things that's very important is why you can and why you can't edit smart plans at certain times. So the main thing that we're going to do, we're going to walk through a couple of things in this article. I'm not going to actually read you the article, but I do want to point out a couple of things. Specifically, we're going to start off with things in yellow. So again, talking in foundations of smart plans. Smart plans can consist of text messages. They can be included in going out to your people with phones. So anything going to a phone number. So if that's the case, then smart plans will go out with text messages. They're sent out between the hours of 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. So if your smart plan contains text messages, those text messages will go out between 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. If you send out this smart plan and it contains any text messages after that, say about 8 p.m., it will appear that it goes out immediately, but it does not. It actually is going to go out the next day. However, emails, notice that in this little statement here, emails, that doesn't apply here. Emails go out pretty much immediately as soon as you send out your smart plans. So that's something to keep in mind as you're building your smart plan. All those text messages, if you use them, and you're going to need to use Twilio to send out those text messages. Those will go out between 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. So the concept of an active smart plan versus an inactive smart plan. When you are creating a smart plan, you're going to do all the work on putting all the modules together, or the actions that they call them. When you put those actions together, the last step of building your smart plan is to add people to it. And by adding people, whether that be using a tag to actually add groups of people or adding individual people, once people have been added to a smart plan, it goes active. You save it and boom, that smart plan starts working. We'll show you that in the workshop this afternoon at 2 p.m. And when that smart plan goes active, you cannot do certain types of editing because the plan is running. It's like sending something out via UPS. Once it's out the door, there's only certain things you can do to it. So an active smart plan has very limited editing capability. An inactive smart plan is a smart plan that doesn't have anybody on it. It doesn't have any people. It's not running right now, and you can do anything you want to it. So you can make an active smart plan inactive by removing people. But you want to be careful with this because remember, a plan starts at the beginning. So you can't start a plan that, let's say that's a 2-month plan. You can't start it, go a month down the road, take all the people off and kind of pause the plan and then restart it from there. You can't do that. If you tried to do this and take all the people off, as soon as you added them back in, it would go back to the beginning and it would do it again. Something very important to remember about smart plans that are active versus inactive, okay? So this particular thing here is talking about how to get into the smart plans, and I'm going to show you that in just a moment here. So before we do that, though, there are a couple of things here that are in this next little yellow box. The bi-monthly neighborhood nurture, the quarterly call small plans, those are not editable. So the neighborhood nurture, the bi-monthly, those can't be edited there because these plans are kind of pre-made and you can't do anything to them. As a matter of fact, when you look at them, there's not anything in them really for you to do because these are behind the scenes. These are plans that are running based on whether or not the contacts that have been added to the smart plan have neighborhoods, and those neighborhoods are triggering the plan. So if you take a look at those, you're not going to have much editing ability there. The birthday and home anniversary smart plans, they do have a limit. You can basically edit the content of the task, email, or the text, but you can't really reorder or remove any of those steps. So some of those things you can do based on the nature of those smart plans. Okay, so let's take a look. I'm going to come back over here to Command now, and we're going to take a look inside of Command, and we're going to look at the SmartPlans interface here for a moment, and then we're going to kind of look backward piece by piece at some of the things that we need to do to set up our smart plan. So I'm going to create a new smart plan here up at the top right-hand corner of my smart plan page. You have to give your smart plan a name, so I'll go ahead and give this a name of class. Let's try this again. It's class 7. Oh, we're coming to the end of the month here. 7/27 and 21. So this is the date of the class, but I'm going to give this just a simple name. You want to remember the name of your smart plan should be very, very specific so that you know exactly what it is the next time you want to add people to it or when you want to edit it or run it. So I'll go ahead and create this smart plan, and it's going to take me to the editing page. So each of the things that we do in here, I'm going to go through each of the actions and I'm going to talk about what needs to be in place with those actions so that we can use them. All right. So we'll start off with, we're going to go over here and click on Create Task. All right. So the first action type that we can add to a smart plan is a task. So within a task, the task itself has a setting for once the task is triggered, you can specify at that point, once the task is actually added to your task list, how many days are you going to give yourself to complete that task? And that's what this due in is for. So let's say the task is added to your task list on Monday. Are you going to give yourself Monday to finish it? Or do you want to have a few days to finish that task before it becomes past due? So in these cases, the tasks that you create using the tasks action in your command, I'm going to go ahead and switch back over here and go back into, actually I'll open up another one because I'll leave that smart plan window open. I'm going to go to the command dashboard here. So the tasks are generated and they're placed on this tasks applet. So remember we have our contact applet and then we have our task applet. So the tasks that are created from a smart plan are added to this list. Now this list, you can view this in today, past due, 7 days next, 30, past 7, past 7, all that. So you can actually specify the range that you want. This is where those tasks are going to land. Now the tasks are always contact based. What that means is if I create a task in my SmartPlan, it's going to be tied to a person. So it's, well, it doesn't have to be. Let me be careful here. You can tie it to a person, contact based. So you could put, for example, call back the name of the contact, and the name of the contact, we can pull that by using merge fields. Okay. So the name of the task can be just a generic name, or we can actually put in the name of the contact who was triggered by this SmartPlan. Next up is the task description. And again, you can put any kind of information in. This task action is for you. This doesn't go out as an email, doesn't go out as a smart text or anything like that. This is for you. It adds a task to your daily routine. An optional field down here with tasks is that you can add hyperlinks. So you can put a link to anything that is relevant to this task to be completed in the task itself, so that when you're actually looking at the task in the task window, you will see the hyperlink as an available option. So you click on the name of the task and it'll show you the hyperlink. Tasks are actually very cool because those are also triggered and will show up on your notification bell. So on your notification bell, you will see tasks that will show up. And additionally, if you're running the Kelly app, tasks will show up there as well. Okay. So that's a task in terms of the actions available inside of a SmartPlan. Now, the next thing is make a call. Now, a make a call action, you can see that it's essentially identical to a task. And it is. The difference is the icon at the top and the label. It still has a due in X amount of days. It still has a task name, a description, and a hyperlink option. The main difference between these two is designed so that they show up on your task list. One will show up as a task to perform, and one will show up as a call to make. So calls by their nature typically have to do with at least a contact or contacts by group or something like that. So calls are often used with the names of the contacts who you're going to call. Okay, so we don't need to go through all of those because they're identical to the task creation tools, action tools. The next one down here in the actions is sending an email. So if I click on send an email, when I look at the contents of the action for sending an email, I have, first off, a reply to, okay? The reply to is the default email address. If someone replies to your email from a SmartPlan, the email that's in this window is the email that they will see, and it's the email that will be sent the reply. Now, there is a statement here. To update your command email address, please go to settings, and there's a link. So let's take a look at that. I'm going to click on that settings link, and in my case, I opened it up in a new tab so that I could see where it went. Where it took me was to my integrations page in settings. Another way to get there is to click on the profile icon at the top right-hand corner and choose settings. That takes you to the same exact area. Now I'm going to slide all the way down to the bottom of this page. So I just scrolled all the way to the bottom, and you'll see here it says command email. This is the email that is being used to do a lot of different things within command. So if I click on manage for that command email, it's going to bring up a dialog box, and it's going to say, here are the email addresses that you can choose from for the reply to. If you have multiple email addresses, you can see these emails. One is the Robert Vincent at KWCLM. That is an email from my White Pages profile. The next one here is my Keller Williams email, my recovery email, which is in my White Pages profile as well. And then the marketing profile email, which is the email that you add to your marketing profile inside of Command. And of course, you can add a custom email. You should at least see these here. If any of those are missing, reach out to me and we can go through to make sure that you have all of those loaded in there. The default that I've chosen for anybody who replies to an email in my SmartPlans is to use my KW email, not my KWCLM. And I only did that to give it, some people don't know what the KWCLM is, so I use the KW, like the main email for the company there. So that's what you're doing when you're setting the configuration. You can also change the sender name up here if you wanted to. I'm leaving it as just my name though, so that'll do just fine for now. Okay, there's just a little bit more down here. You have your monthly usage and things like that. So I'll go ahead and oh, I don't need to manage the subscription, sorry. We'll just go ahead and close this out here. Okay. So again, this is where we manage our email name or reply address. From that SmartPlan window we can get there, or from the settings area. Next up, you'll also see that there's a required subject line. So you must have a subject, and the subject is going to obviously show up in the client's email. This should be something that you will encourage people to read the entire email. Don't try to do clickbait. You know, you won't believe what happened in Nottingham this week in terms of housing. Don't do clickbaits, because people tend to think that's spam. Do something that, you know, connects with them and says something to them that they would be wanting to, you know, look at. Information on, you know, the homes that you are in your neighborhood. I don't know, whatever. But just don't make it a clickbait thing. The next thing down here is email type. And there are two kinds of email that SmartPlans can send out. The first type of email is a simple email. And a simple email is down here. You can see that we have very simple formatting tools. We can adjust the fonts. We can adjust, you know, put a bullet list or a numbered list. We can change the color of the fonts. We can change the line orientation, left, right, or center. We can add links to our email, just basic editing tools. But all of the email body is created here. So it's just as if you were writing an email in your email client and sending that out in bulk. All right, so you get limited formatting here. One of the things that you get here, if, for example, if I type in hello and I put a space, is you can use these form fields or these merge fields right here with the little F in the bracket. And you can automatically add the first name and the last name. I'll get the right one there. I'll add the first name. Here we go. And put a space after this. It does require you to format it. So first name, space, last name. There we go. And then maybe a comma and then a carriage return, or hitting enter. Carriage return. Look that one up, youngsters. So now we have hello, first name, last name with a comma there, and we're on a new line. So we can add these four merge fields. So you're thinking to yourself, okay, so that's great, but what are we talking about here? Well, for every contact in our database that we add to this SmartPlan, as the system merges the SmartPlan email together with the contact it's going to, it will put their first name and last name in these particular areas, and it will look personalized. So merge fields, all right? So you can see that that's all there is in a simple email. So you can type an entire body here. You have up to 2,000 characters. You can see that down in the bottom right-hand corner of the email text box. And that will give you quite a bit of information that you can put in there. Now, of course, you can see that the type of information that you can add here is pretty much text information. Now, if you want to link to an image or something like that, you can do that here, or you can link to an external address. But if you want to get a little bit more fancy, if you want to create something a little nicer, you can use the designs that you have already created. So if you click on designs as opposed to simple, this little toggle button right here. So if you click on designs, it's going to wipe out all of the simple email area, and it's going to allow you to select a design. So when you click on select design, you see that the screen changed here. It immediately took me to the template library for not only all of the KWRI templates, but also I can access my design templates. So if you have already created a design and you want that to be used for your email, you can pull any one of the designs that you have created and you can put that design in your email. Now you'll notice that this does not allow you the option to create a new design while you're building the email. So you will need to create the design before you build the email because you'll need to pull it from here, from the designs area. So I'm going to go ahead and say, no, I don't want to go and pull the design. I'm going to go back to the SmartPlan editor in the top corner there, and it's going to take me back to the editor. Now, I'm going to do this one more time for you. I'm going to click the designs here. I'm going to select a design, and this time I'm just going to pull a classic virtual home tour. So I'm going to pull that in here, and it's going to show me a preview of what this pre-made template looks like from the designs area that from the KWRI. It automatically pulls a classic of the virtual home tour. It's got text in it here. It's got the market center information, blah, blah, blah. I can edit this. I can edit this to say whatever I want it to say. Even if it was a template that I had created, I can do this. I can edit it, modify it, change some things up. So you're automatically taken into the edit window to allow you to modify that. Once you're done, you can click save and exit, and that will load that design template into your email. Now you don't see it here, but if you were to preview this or if you were to send yourself a test email out of here, you would see it. Keep in mind that on SmartPlans, the test emails that you send out of here, they're going to merge. So they're going to merge with whoever you send it to. So be careful. You don't want to just send a test email to your entire list because that's going to go out. So if you want to view what these look like, make yourself a SmartPlan and then add only yourself to the SmartPlan, and then send it to yourself as the single recipient to see what it actually looks like when your contacts receive it. Okay, so we're going to finish up with the email there. We'll go ahead and delete this. I'm going to take that out. We'll just do one at a time here. So the next one up here is sending an SMS MMS, and I'll click on that. So the requirements for sending an SMS are that you must have a Twilio account for this to work. What is Twilio, you ask? Well, let's go back over to our settings panel here. Once again, on the profile icon in the top right, I went and clicked on settings here, and I took myself over to the settings area. And at the very bottom of the screen here, it's the Twilio settings. So you see here, Twilio, it says here that this is send and receive text messages powered by Twilio. Okay, Twilio is a paid service. You have to pay for this. Now, Twilio costs about $2 to $3 a month for the basic plan, and you can see here that my plan that I have right now, clicking to manage accounts in the marketplace, I've got my usage here showing me what I've been using on this guy, and I've got credits expiring this month, so I've got quite a bit going on there. So I'm doing pretty good. As far as call forwarding and all those other tools, those are other services that you can also add to your system to include. So this service is incredibly powerful. What it does is it takes an automatic connection from your command interface, and it sends out your messages, your text messages via this service. You are still responsible for making sure that the phone numbers are not on the do not call list. That is still your responsibility. Okay, something to keep in mind. So this is a very, very powerful tool, and I strongly urge you to consider it. It is incredibly inexpensive, and it really broadens the opportunities for you when it comes to text messages. Just as a side note, keep in mind that when you are in command, the contacts themselves, any contact that has a phone number in your database, Twilio will also allow you to directly text message that person right from here. So you just click on the name or click on the phone number of any contact, and you can send a text message instantly right from there. Okay. I love that feature. I think it is such a great tool, and it's available to you. So now I'm back in the SmartPlan. So let's talk about what we can do within the SMS messages here. So the from is automatically grayed out here. It says your Twilio account is connected. It is a personal account. So this personal account is connected to my personal database, and I am able to send out text messages from that using that service. There are two message types on the right here, two message types. One of them is a static message, and that's, we can type in hello, and we can also use fields here. So here's our static message, hello, first name, and then I'll put a comma, checking in to say hi. Okay. Now remember, this is a text message, so there are character limits here. I'm using 50 out of 480 right now. So this is a limited amount of characters. It's not like an email where you can do 2,000 characters or something like that. And there's a little reminder at the bottom here to make sure that these people are not on the do not call list. Again, this is your responsibility there. So now that I've done this, this is an example of a static message. This is a single message. And this is something where this message is going to essentially go out one time. You see when I hover above static here, it says set up a single text message, static, and it is not recommended for smart plans that repeat. Because if a smart plan repeats and you're using a static message, essentially you're going to be sending the same message every time this smart plan repeats. Now, if the smart plan is repeating fairly quickly, weekly or monthly, they're going to be seeing the same text message pop up over and over and over. Whereas a dynamic text message sets up multiple versions of your text message, and it pulls one each time that the smart plan goes out and around, so that they're seeing different messages over a period of time. Now, how many messages can you use in dynamic? You can see here that there is, I've got 2. Let's see if we can add 3. Let's go 4. Let's see if there's a limit. Let's see, 5, 6. 6 is the limit. So you could have this smart plan repeat 6 times with 6 different messages for each time that the smart plan repeated before it would go around and they would see message number 1 again. All right. So it will cycle through these messages to avoid repeating it, and up to 6 messages. So if your smart plan is going to be running every month for 12 months, you might want to consider some kind of trickery where you actually, after 6 months and 6 different messages, you create a second smart plan with the 6 remaining months and 6 new messages. I know, mind-blowing. So that's a kind of cool thing that you can do within SmartPlans. Okay, so now that we know that we can do up to 6 messages here, I'm going to go ahead and delete all of those little guys because we don't need them. So we'll come back here and get rid of those. Boom, 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 bam, bada, bam, bam, back down to 1. Okay, so static is a single, dynamic is multiple. It still tells you that you have to make sure you're looking at the do not call list. Now, because this is an MMS, you'll notice that a text message, we're not putting any graphics in here. This is not going to send out any designs or anything like that. This is text messaging, so it's very simple, very effective. So I'll go ahead and close the, delete the text message option, and now let's talk about the setting of a delay. So if I click on here to set a delay, now this doesn't make a lot of sense by adding it at the top of the list as step number 1, but it is something that you can do. Setting a delay effectively puts a delay of a certain amount of days between 2 steps of your smart plan. So for example, if your smart plan included 2 emails, let me remove this delay for a moment. We'll start off with a clean slate. So let's say I had an email that was the first thing to go out on my smart plan. And in this email, it was initial, hello, and that had some content down here, hi. Now, once I save that, I can actually kind of collapse this little guy down so that you can just see the email here. So just the little label for what it is. And I want to send out a second email. Okay, so I want to send out a second email, but I want to send it out a week later. So I can actually add the email right now, and this is 1 week later. And I'll put in hi again. And I will save this one, and I will collapse. Oh, okay, actually, you know what? This is actually perfect because it said here, SmartPlans can only have 1 email per day. Please add a delay between the steps. Actually, this worked out perfectly to give you an idea that, there are certain things you really don't want to do 2 emails back to back. Remember, because the SmartPlan is just doing the work, if you ended up putting these 2 back to back, they'd literally pop up in their inbox right away, and they'd have 2 emails. So this one here says you really do need a delay. So I'll click OK, and I'll come over here to the right-hand side, and I'll add a delay. Now notice that the delay automatically added itself to the bottom of the screen, but I need it to be between step 1 and 2. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm not going to finish this up here yet, but I'll collapse step 1 and 2. And I'm going to use the arrows down at the bottom here for the move up, move down. And I'm going to move that delay up 1 slot so that it sits between step 1 and now step 3. Now that I've done that, I can specify the amount of delay days up to 30 days. So if I wanted to delay this, like I said in my in email subject, 1 week later, I can delay this by 7 days. So I'll go ahead and choose 7 days by using the little arrows up and down here. And now I have a delay of 7 days. And then it says, notice what happened here, day 8 now. So my SmartPlan is now on day 8. And at the very top, it says here, 8 days, 3 steps, 2 touches. The email are the touches. There are, in fact, 3 steps in the SmartPlan. And because when we take into consideration the 7-day delay, we now have 8 days for the running of this entire SmartPlan. Very valuable information. So the delay gives you that option. Now you can add delays between each and every step if you would like. Of course, this is really good if you want to have that kind of delayed communication, kind of sprinkling it out over a period of time. All right. So now I mentioned a little bit ago about using SMS messages, and I said that, after 6 SMS messages, they will start to repeat if you're using dynamic messages. Well, if you had to do this over a 12-month period and you wanted 30 days delay in between each of the text messages and you wanted 12 separate messages, what you would want to do is create one with 6, one SmartPlan with 6 messages in it. And at the end of that SmartPlan, you would add them to a new SmartPlan. So I'll click that. And what you're doing is saying that when this SmartPlan finishes its last step, which its last step is on day 8, sending an email, in this case, 1 week after the original, I can then convert them to another SmartPlan. Maybe I want to put them on after I do this initial touch. I want to put them on a monthly neighborhood nurture. So it will move that contact out of this SmartPlan and add them to the monthly neighborhood nurture and automatically start sending them emails on that monthly neighborhood nurture. Now, the monthly neighborhood nurture, we're going to talk about that in a moment here, but remember, that has to do with people who have neighborhoods attached to their contact card in Command. So that's something to keep in mind as we use particularly that tool right there. But you can add them to any neighborhood nurture, any SmartPlan that you want. So maybe if you've built, months 6 to 12 on follow-up, you can absolutely do that. Okay. So the add to SmartPlan is just literally transferring them from the current SmartPlan to the next SmartPlan that you select. All right. Now, the last thing that we can do, actually, let me take out this day 8 here. Let me take out that add to SmartPlan here. So we're going to remove that, and we're going to talk about the next one. The next one here is restarting a smart plan. So if I click on restart, you can see that here, the restart option here is not indefinitely. Although if you choose the restart plan 1 through 6 times or choose unlimited to repeat the plan indefinitely. So the default is to show you 1 time. And then you can say repeat this forever. So you can repeat it 1 through 6 times or choose forever. Now, keep in mind that they can unsubscribe from this, and if they do unsubscribe from a smart plan, then this will remove them from that repeat process. So adding the restart smart plan is really good. It's kind of automatic when you have things like the smart plan running for monthly neighborhood nurtures, where it just keeps going until they unsubscribe or you take them off manually because they've asked you, okay, now we're ready to buy this home, we're ready to look at this, do the sale or whatever. So the restart is very good when you have a lot of information that changes over time and also gives them updated good news or something like that. Right? I would not put them on a repeat smart plan that is a very short smart plan, like a 2-day smart plan, because you're just going to be bombarding them with information. Now, keep in mind, as I speak about bombarding them with information, you can see here that when I put that repeat in here, I'll go ahead and close that up here just for a second. There, we're talking about an 8-day plan, 4 steps, 2 touches. So I've got an email, a delay, an email, and then I'm saying that I want to restart the smart plan. Well, if I did actually, and it didn't let me, but if I did this, it would restart it with sending an email on the 8th day again. It would just go right back up to the top as soon as that email was sent. It doesn't make sense. So you would want to add a delay in between the 2 smart plans there, the 2 emails. So right here, setting a delay, then you would want to restart the smart plans. We're restarting it on day 9. Okay. And then I believe you can save more than 14. Cannot restart a smart plan that is less than 14 days. See how they protect you here? We have less than 14. We only have 9 days. So this thing is like, don't do that. Don't start a smart plan over if it's not at least 14 days long. It's just too much of the same information too quickly. I love that. I love how they stop you from doing that. Okay. Remove. I'll remove the restart here. So it's easy to, you can see that it's pretty easy to add steps and remove steps. So gotta love it. Okay. All right, so with that, those are some of the things that we can do inside of the actions for our choices here. Now, each of those has, the settings that you add there, and they each have their own options. Let's take a little bit further down here on the right-hand side for the tips and rules. So a task itself, when we talk about tasks, delays must be added between tasks to include more. So one of the tips and the rules there, like anything, you can't really back-to-back stuff because it just makes it really difficult. Things go out too quickly. So there's not a lot of back-to-back allowed. All right, the next thing up is sending SMSs. So it requires at least a day between messages to send. So you can't send messages out multiple times per day. Sending email, same rule, 1 per day, at least a delay between them. Setting delays cannot be less than 1 day. So they're just telling you, nope, nothing less than a day. Requires at least 1 action between the delays, so you can't set delays back to back. And the smart plan cannot exceed 90 days in total. Okay. Adding to smart plans, allowed once per day per smart plan, which again, that's just logic. We don't want to add them to 10 different smart plans in one single day. Delays must be added between the steps. And they cannot add more than 1 version of a canned smart plan. So you can't add them to the birthday smart plan twice. So anything that's canned won't allow you to do it twice. The due in cannot exceed 14 days. And we're talking about those delays here. Sorry, not the delays. Where is it? Where's my little... Oh, I took it out already. Tasks. I'll throw a task down here. And you can see the due in allows me to go up to 14 days. So that's what that tip is referring to there. Restarting the flow, available for smart plans of at least 14 days in length, and they must be added as the last action. So you can't restart something and then add another action later. It has to be the last action. And per smart plan, the touches cannot exceed 7 touches within 7 days. So you can't have 8 emails within 7 days. You can't have more than 12 of these contact points within 30 days. And you can have a maximum of 15 touches within one single smart plan. Okay, so that gives you a good idea of what is going on with the basics of the smart plan. Now, let's talk about some of the things that are also part of the foundational things that you have to have ready before you create your smart plans. So when we think about what a smart plan is doing, it's reaching out to people in some of these methods. It kind of goes without saying that if we're going to make a call, then there's got to be a phone number for our contact. So as we work through these, there's a little bit of logic here. So if you set up a smart plan that just says that you're going to make a call, you have to have that phone number to be able to make the call. Now, if the phone number is in your personal phone and you never added it into a contact or something like that, and it just gives you, make sure you call these people in your phone, sure, that's fine. But you probably would want to add them to your database so that they're in the database so that you can monitor the actions that you've taken. The same thing for an email. You want an email to go as part of the smart plan, then it better be in the contact information. And it needs to be a valid email so that they can get it. The SMS is tied to their phone number, so that goes back to the whole thing with make a call. If you're going to send out an SMS, they need a phone number and you need to have a Twilio account set up. So you will need both of those, okay? So the next thing down here, that's pretty much it for those things in the smart plan that are action-based. So I mentioned that tasks automatically generate and show up on your home page. I'll show you that back here. I'll leave this smart plan window open for a moment. So on your home page, you will see tasks that are due. And these are going to show you all of your tasks that are due. You can also look at a variation of all tasks, contact tasks, opportunity tasks. And if you're in the Market Center, you can look at onboarding tasks. All right. So this is a really great way for you to keep track of those tasks. Additionally, in the tasks area, you will see the tasks that are lighting up here based on your smart plan. And you will have the ability to click on that task and view it and then create the action and complete that task. If we're talking about contacts, we're talking about contact tasks. So inside of a contact, if a task is generated for a contact via a smart plan, it is not only generated on the front page, but it's also generated within the timeline of a contact as well. So you will see a task generated here. Okay. Just keep that in mind. All right. So let's go back over to the smart plans here. The make a call will show up with the phone number that you put in there to make a call. The sending of an email will show up in the timeline. Once again, it will show up in their timeline as an email that was sent. And you can see here, I'm going to go to a contact that has some of this information based on, and that contact is me. V-I-N-C-E. I can't even spell my own name. What? Okay, we'll go over here to this guy. Okay, so you can see here emails that were sent out, and you can actually view those emails as well through here. So I've got a lot of smart plan tests that I run to do exactly these things. Here is a text message that was sent out on my behalf as well. Here's another email for home search. So these things here, subscribing to smart plans, that information all shows up inside of the contacts so that you know that these things are actually happening and the contacts are receiving this information. Okay, so I kind of closed out this last one already by showing you that the Sms Mms messages also show up in the timeline for your contact. Okay, so Twilio is required. A minimum of a contact phone number for SMS messages and the Twilio, and an email address for anything that's going out via email. So those are the things that you can do inside of a smart plan. That's the walkthrough of the actions that can be done. Now let's take a look. I'm going to go back to the main smart plan page here, and I'm going to save that smart plan. It's not a great one. It's a good example, but it's not great. And we're going to go back to the, yes, save. complete. Oh, look at that. I forgot to, I'll delete that. Don't need it, so I'll get rid of it. Okay. Save, good. Now back to my SmartPlan page. All right. So when we look at our list of SmartPlans, this is the ones that I've either created or these are the SmartPlans that I've downloaded from the KWRI library and, if necessary, modified or at least implemented into my system. So on this front page here, it shows that I have 43 different plans that are people plans. I have not personally published any plans to the Keller Williams library. I'm not publishing anything back for other people to use, but you can. The smart plans that I have here are all ones that either I have built or have downloaded. To see the plans that I have to see the plans that are available for download, we can go back up to the library area here, and we can go to the Keller Williams library. Now, when we come in here, we can actually view it by smart plan name, by author name, or by description. We can search for those. We can also use a filter here to say, hey, what's the newest stuff that's come in within 3 months, 6 to 9, 9 to 12, and so forth. So I can also search it by author. For example, if I wanted to look for anything that Marty Miller had done, I could put that in here. Touches, show touches with over 1 touch or show with more than 2,000 agents using that smart plan. I can also go by rating, see smart plans that have gotten the highest ratings, and then I can filter those results. I can also additionally just search for the smart plan name, and let's say that smart plan name is birthday. So when I search for birthday here, you're going to see a bunch of things pop up. There are 166 results for birthday smart plans. Now, the first smart plan that you see here has that red Keller Williams logo here in the icon. This indicates that this plan was built by Keller Williams. This is one that was published by Keller Williams Realty International, and this here is kind of the system smart plan. So what that means is this is a plan that you can't really do anything to because this is something that is controlled by Keller Williams. You can, however, if you want to look at the steps on this smart plan, you can see that it's a 6-day, 6-step, 4-touch, and it has to do with all of the information that is available inside of the database for your contact. None of this actually reaches out specifically to them via an email by itself, but you can send an SMS message here and you can set it up to go to them, say happy birthday. And it's kind of automated. You can manually adjust what it says for the text, but the SMS is automated. Okay. So this is a really cool tool, and you can add this smart plan to your library by just clicking on Add Smart Plan. You need to give it a unique name. It will default to my birthday, and I'm going to put in my birthday smart plan here and say, all right, look at that. Doesn't look like it's going to go because I already have this birthday smart plan in my library, so I'm not able to download it again. So I've already downloaded this one, and I've downloaded a bunch of the ones from KWRI. So when you add it, you'll be able to click it in there, give it a unique name, and then put that into your system. Okay, so the rest of them though, like if we look at the view steps here for somebody else's smart plan, this is not going to be based automatically off of the birthday field within the Keller Williams database, because the one that's seeing that is the KWRI plan. This one here does not see that. So this one here is going to give you information on, when to reach out for people. Okay. So the ones that are Keller Williams built, sometimes those will use functionality within the database that other plans can't necessarily access. There are a lot of different smart plans, and you can go through, and again, you can always look for the ones that are KWRI, or you can peruse by, like if we wanted to do by rating. So I'll come over here and I'll say with the birthday plan, let's go with people who have rated the birthday plans over 5 stars. And so these are the ones that are going to be birthday plans built by agents or other people and loaded in. So this first one here, birthday smart plan for all contacts. Let's see what the steps are on this little guy here. So we've got an interaction, a delay, a phone call, another delay, a touch task, and an SMS message. Okay. So this particular plan was 5 stars, and we got a few with 1 stars. It's got 2 people who rated it there. So, all right. Okay, so the library itself can give you a lot of things, but I'll be honest with you, after you've perused the library for ideas, you're probably going to want to come back here and look at the SmartPlans and create your own. And I want to talk briefly about that in this next section here. So when you're about to talk about a SmartPlan, the question I get many times is, I want to create a SmartPlan, I need to know how I do it. Well, I just showed you the mechanics of building a SmartPlan using the tools that are in the system. And you can see that they're fairly straightforward and fairly easy. But the concept of the SmartPlan and what you're going to actually do with it is where you're going to spend most of your thoughts and most of your time. You're going to want to think of the message that you want to deliver. That's going to be your primary focus. You want to you say to yourself, get a piece of paper out, get yourself, your little rocket notebook here, your rocket book, get that out and start coming up with some ideas for what you want that SmartPlan to be. And it could be anything as simple as, I'm introducing myself as a new real estate agent, or I've just joined a different team, or I've just joined Keller Williams. Anything that's, anything that you want to say that you want to reach out to people to and have a conversation about. And then you want to say to yourself, okay, am I doing this once? The message, is it a one-time message, or is it something where I want to keep in touch with people? Okay. So that question is something that's really important, because a one-time email that you want to send out once and forget it, that one-time email can be done in a campaign. You can put the email together, say, hey, great, nice, beautiful design, and you can send out that email to everybody in your database as a one-time deal and be done with it. But that's not really what SmartPlans are for. SmartPlans are for repeat connecting. You saw these touches over days and the different things that it can do. We want to think about the message as being something that we're going to repeat over days, or we're going to have it part of a larger message, a text message and an email, and following up with a phone call or something like that. So a SmartPlan is a bigger picture campaign. It's going to involve some work from you, and it's going to involve a lot of work on the system to automate this process for you. Break your SmartPlan down. Do I have multiple touches? Are there multiple things that I want to do? Yes. Okay, great. So start writing your message. And if your message requires that you need a design for that, reach out to Alana Babineau if you're not comfortable with designs, and she can help you create a design. If you're something where it's just, you want to create multiple versions of emails, like a newsletter thing, and you want to have them go out with, a couple of months or whatever you want to do with it, then you can design those yourselves, and you make it be simple, or they can be using the design tools. Then you want to ask yourself, okay, so what kind of delays, what kind of distances between, any other messages, any other touches that I want to do in between these different messages. Great. Now you've kind of laid out what the SmartPlan looks like. Now you don't have to build it just yet, but you do want to say to yourself in that messaging process, who in my database am I going to reach out to with this message? Is it going to be everybody? Is it a generic enough message for me to send to everyone, and there's nothing specific where one particular person or group of people it doesn't apply to, or it's irrelevant information? If it's generic enough, then by all means, consider what you're building to be for all of the people in your database. But if it is specific to people in Portsmouth, specific to people in Dover, specific to people who are aviation enthusiasts, something where the categorization of your database using tags has broken the database out into different categories and different likes, different purposes to reach out to different people, different things. People who have bought from you already, people who have not bought from you. So these kind of separations allow you to group people together by tags. So you may say to yourself, this message only applies to really people who have bought from me. So we want to make sure that we get the people who have bought from you tagged in your database so that we can identify them. So as we're talking about this message, we're thinking about who it's going to and how we're going to group those people together. Now that we've done that, then we can go back into the SmartPlan and we can put the SmartPlan together with knowing who we're going to be communicating it to and save it up. Once we've saved our SmartPlan up, we can do a couple of things to add people to it. So here's my class 2721, and I'm looking at it on the front page of the SmartPlans, and I can come over here to the far right-hand side, and I can say Add Contact. Now, if I have a tag already picked out for the group that I'm going to send this SmartPlan to, I can just click Tag, and I can say, okay, the people that I want to receive this SmartPlan are all of my clients. So I go ahead and click on Client. So right now, it looks like I've only got one person in my database tagged as client. Not a really good quantity of people for a SmartPlan. Maybe I'm going to now include, let's say, I'm going to include friends. Okay, well, apparently I don't have very many friends either. I can include future cappers. Okay, now I'm getting a few people. So maybe these are the people that I want to send it out to. No, I am being a little arbitrary in my tagging list because I'm showing you how we can add more tags and more people. But you'll be a little bit more targeted. So these people, now that we have them in here, we can go ahead and select all of those people and we can add them all to the SmartPlan in our view. Now, I'm not actually going to do this because if I did this, I'd be sending this bizarre empty message to a bunch of people who would be like, what the heck are you sending me? So I'm going to cancel this screen and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add just one person to the SmartPlan. I'm going to add just myself to this because I want to show you what the next steps are. All right, so here is Robert Vincent. I'm going to say, okay, so I've got 500 versions of myself. I'm going to go ahead and click on Add to SmartPlan. It's going to say then, when would you like, actually, no, let me go back a page here, and I'm going to add 2 of me to the SmartPlan. And I'm going to go and say to the next page here. When would you like the SmartPlan to start? Start them now. Would you like to start on a specific date? So maybe delay it a few days before it starts. Maybe you want to wait till Monday after the weekend. And if you have a lot of people in your database and a lot of people in the tags for this particular SmartPlan, you may not want to send all of those out at once, especially if it's, 20, 30, 50. You may want to stagger it so that certain amount of SmartPlans will go out per day, giving you time to react if they call back a lot. So you can say, okay, the maximum contacts per day, maybe I want to do 5 per day or 10 per day. I only got 2 people selected, so I'm not going to be, doing more than 1 per day. So in this case, you can stagger them and set them up. And that's a really handy tool. I'll go ahead and start this SmartPlan now. And I'll finish the confirmation. Now, I get calls on this confirmation page quite a bit where it says, if you have a Twilio account set up, all SMS messages will automatically be sent from that Twilio number. That's something really important to note because that doesn't mean that there's an error in your SmartPlan. It's just a red notification telling you that SMS messages go out via Twilio. If you have no Twilio account, the SMS messages don't go out. It's very simple. So if the red message there is not an error, it's just an indicator telling you what's going to happen with the SMS messages if they're in your SmartPlan. The final step here is to confirm it, and you confirm the SmartPlan, and that SmartPlan takes off and runs. A SmartPlan that is running, you can see down here on the My Monthly Neighborhood Nurture. That plan currently has 2 people on it, and it is active. That's what it's telling you right there. That's the indication that this SmartPlan is active. And you can also click the eyeball here to see who is on this SmartPlan. And if necessary, you can go through, select any or select all of the people on the SmartPlan and unsubscribe one at a time or unsubscribe everyone from the SmartPlan. So the little indicator with the eyeball that is kind of a green eyeball, looks like it's lit up, is telling you that the plan is running. Plans that are running are limited on what you can do in terms of editing. And you can see here that this is not only running, it's also a KW managed plan. There's limited editing here. You can change the name and you can add or remove triggers. And that's it. None of this other stuff is editable. So running plans are limited in editing. KW managed plans are even more limited in editing. So keep that in mind as you build and use these smart plans. Okay, so we're coming up on the end here. If you have any questions about the information that we've covered here today, please feel free to reach out to Robert. I am Robert Vincent at robert.vincent@kwclm.com. And the information that you can also, I'm going to go ahead and put this little screen here we're going to be going over the Smart Plans workshop, where we're actually going to download a couple of these Smart Plans, and we're going to put them together and put them to use in your database. So we'll see you then. Until then, have a great day.